Yes, it is your boy DJ Easy.
And Dogface.
You're listening to Dad Talk TV. Yes, again, Tuesday morning on the way to work. You already know the vibes, man. We get together and rock out, talk about all the cool shit and some of the real shit that we go through as dads. Okay, welcome back for another episode. How you feeling, man?
Feeling great, man. Last night, daughter was a little under the weather, so, we switched turns going back and taking care of her, but I felt like, I don't know, when she's sick, that good sleep that we usually get, we don't get that as much.
Nah, hell no.
But we have to make sure she's taken care of. That's my little precious right there.
Hell yeah, yo. And I ain't gonna lie, man, when my daughter got sick for the first time, it was super scary, man. Definitely scary. As a dad, I was like, you don't want your kids to go through anything, you know what I'm saying? Let alone a cold.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Or anything, right? So big shout out to the moms that hold it down.
Right.
Gotta give them some love. But the second time that she had a little stomach bug, bro, that was one that almost took me out. For real, because it was just a scary thing to see. Like, just her just being super tired, not wanting to eat, just wanting to sleep all the time. It was crazy.
Well, what's the craziest thing? Just talking about kids getting sick or just stuff they do. I experienced it the first time. We experienced it the first time, that projectile vomit or spitting back up their formula.
Oh yeah.
I was like, that's real.
Yep.
That reminded me of being an exorcist, and when they projectile, I was like, oh snap.
Yeah, man.
And all you could do is just sit there and be like, that's my daughter. I'm just gonna take that. Take that one for the team and clean it up.
Man, them babies is powerful, man. From the grip to the puke to the poop, man. It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
The amount of power that's in that little package is phenomenal, right? It's wild. So I definitely feel where you're coming from in regards to her being sick and whatnot, man.
But she's good. It's just a stuffy nose now, and she's just laughing. She doesn't want you to clean her nose, although she wants you to clean her nose because it's hey, I can't breathe.
Yep.
But other than that, she's blessed.
Hell yeah, she is, man. You're a good dude. Ain't a good dad.
Well, thank you, sir.
Ain't a
Same
good
for
friend.
you.
Run for cover. Save your mother. And your daddy, man. You know what I'm saying? Nah, but all jokes aside, right? All jokes aside, glad that you had a good weekend. I'm glad that she's doing a little better. I have a question for you.
All right, go with the question.
I got a question for you. I always got a question for this guy, just to start off the conversation a little bit. I actually bought my book too, just in case I forgot the questions.
Oh wow!
But I haven't. Have you ever thought about the dad that you wanted to be based on what your partner wanted you to be as a dad? Hold on.
Sorry.
Hold on. Let me say it again. Have you ever thought about how you wanted to be a dad based on what your partner thought you should be as a dad?
Yes.
Okay.
Not my current partner.
Okay.
I'll say my past ones.
Awesome. Okay.
Right? I'll say my past ones because I would say that there's a level of maturity that I had to go through and, flourish and build. Just because you're an adult doesn't mean that you think like an adult. Your maturity level to be. There's one thing to be a responsible person. There's another thing to be a responsible father or parent to a child.
Absolutely.
And I think that some of the pressures or not understanding the pressures of a person wanting certain things in a relationship, over time, compounding showed me that they want you to be provide for them, take care of them, put them. It's kind of silly, but not silly, but put them on a pedestal or cherish them. But in you doing that, I felt in many ways it would be me not being my full self because I'm doing these things because they want it, not because I genuinely want to give it.
Yeah.
Without any without any expectation of rewards back.
Gotcha.
And so, honestly, for me, sometimes when I look at that situations in the past, I don't know if I would be that great father, because I could see why I would walk away.
Yeah.
In many ways, I don't mean to be mean, or it's just like I would most likely walk away.
Yeah.
Or end the situation very quickly, even knowing that I have a child, and that would be the most terrible thing.
Absolutely. 100%.
And that's why I laughed about it, because it's like, yeah, you wouldn't want me to be that person. I would not want to be that father, because I could see how my actions and feelings could reverberate and cause more issues, versus me maturing where I am now, and my wife that I have now. We work through our things. We work through our things separately, and that was like the two rules that we had to do. Talk about finances, but work on ourselves together and individually.
Yeah.
And when I was younger, I didn't necessarily. I was working on things, but I was not forced to work on things.
Okay.
Until someone said, "No, you need to do this," and I saw the true value in it, because I wanted to be better. So that's how to answer your question.
Gotcha. No, that makes sense. So in short, like you're saying that the dad that they wanted you to be, that would have caused you to be something that you were not, and it would have caused you to want to leave,
right,
at some point.
Yeah, because funny enough is like a lot of people, even myself, is like, oh, I never want to be that dude, or it could be anything. I never want to have multiple women on the side, or do all this type of stuff, until you realize that you're in a situation long after, and you're like, oh crap, like these are the things I said I didn't want to do, or I didn't want to show my family, or show my younger niece and nephews the behaviors and mentalities that I've been used to.
Yeah.
But over time, you realize you've been putting them or subjecting them to that. And honestly, there was a part of it where I was only doing what I knew that I was exposed to.
Yeah.
And after a while, making a conscious effort, like, I have to do better for myself, because this is not this is not good.
Word. I respect it.
So,
no, I respect it 100%. The only reason why I ask you that is because we had a conversation a few episodes ago about.
But one thing I would say, because of my sisters, because of my mother, and strong women in my family, strong women I've experienced in my life, that does not mean that I would not be a responsible father to my children. It's just I probably would choose not to be with that person.
Yeah.
So there's different people that would abandon the whole situation. I'm not saying abandon the whole situation.
Yeah.
Like, that's my child. That's something, whether I want it directly or not, it's there, and I'm gonna take my full responsibility.
Hell yeah. Absolutely.
So I'll just put that in the mix to understand. But for what the person wanted me to be in that relationship, I may not have been able to stand for that.
Yeah.
So,
and it goes both ways, right? I mean,
yeah.
I think personally, based on what you just told me, right? What you shared is like, it's okay to want to be, if your partner is describing to you, the better ways or the different things that are outside of what you're used to, in regards to being a better dad, right? They can add pieces to your toolbox for sure. But my thing is, don't let I don't think it's proper or dope, if you will, if your partner just takes your toolbox and removes all the tools inside of your box, and then fill it up with her tools.
Right.
But I think that is inappropriate. You know what I'm saying? And that means and if you take that toolbox, guess what? That's all you get to work with, and you get to work on things that you're not particularly like contributing to, right? You're not even using some of the tools in which you wanted to use as a dad, as a person, as a man, right? So it's like you're giving a version of yourself that is just not who you actually are, and it's who your partner wants you to be. Right. And the only reason I'm asking you this question is because I think it's important for dads, for us to realize what it actually means for us to be a dad, and not only focus on and get lost in this idea of what your partner wants you to be as a dad. You know what I'm saying? It's important for you to absolutely contribute some of those pieces, just like it's important for the mom or your partner to contribute the pieces in which you think they can do better in
Right.
regards to being a parent, right? So it's like it's a tug. I wouldn't say a tug of war, but it's a I wouldn't say a compromise either. I would just say a shared, uh, a shared understanding of what things you want to incorporate into your parenting that is conducive to developing a young adult,
Right.
right?
Right.
So it's like it really is. It should be going back and forth. It shouldn't be one way or the other, and that can go both ways for us too. It's like we can't just be focused so much on what we want to be as a dad and not listen to what your partner would like you to do to incorporate in your parenting. You know what I'm saying? Just like they shouldn't do that either. You know what I'm saying? I think it's important. And it's an element that I've been a part of where and I've seen like podcasts and things like that and discussions where dads are just doing what the mom wants, and I'm like, dude, it's not about that. It's about understanding what both of you want and figure out how you can come together so that you both are happy with your parenting style, right?
Right.
So um, it's a point that I think is important to talk about, just because of it is a parenting situation, not a parent
Right.
situation.
Yeah, there are foundational things that has to be talked and reiterated, put in writing, put on the table so everyone knows that.
Absolutely.
Because it's important to the relationship, to the family, because things will change. Things is the only constant. Like change is the only constant. But understanding like these are the guidelines that we go by to keep our morals and our understandings and identities secure as we moving through them,
Absolutely.
and change when needed, just based on the value that it adds, or
Yeah.
the fulfillment that it gives us.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
Fam, I personally, and this is just me here, like, I think it is important for it to be a combined rubric, right, for parenting, especially if you're with your partner, right?
yeah,
It's a combined rubric rather than one rubric based on what one parent wants,
right.
and you shouldn't be scored on one's personal idea of what you should be as a parent. You should be scored on what you both believe you should be doing as parents,
Right.
and I don't think guys, I want dudes to realize that piece, period, right? But also do not forget what's inside of you that you have thought about, and what kind of dad you want to be in a father, man, partner, period. You know what I'm saying? Because it's super easy to get into that mindset that the mom is crushing it. I'm just going to do what the mom wants, right? And that's fine and dandy, but do not forget where you want to be as a dad as well, right? And if you want to be that, if you want to just listen to what your partner is telling you, and you're just doing exactly what, then so be it, right? Because they're okay with being in that version. But I personally have thought about being a dad since I was 8 years old, right?
Wow.
And it's crazy to think about. I thought about that I thought about how I wanted to propose to my significant other. I thought about that, right? And there's the way society is lined up is like, or the way things usually go is based on what the woman wants, and I respect that 100%, because at the end of the day, they have power in regards to so many things in a relationship, but it should never just be one person with the power, I think, in regards to what you want to do and the actions that you want to go after in regards to, raising a kid.
Well, I would say that, put it like this: we're like the sandbox. We give them that structure for them to flourish in, and sometimes we don't have to say anything, but we give those boundaries, we give that area of protection that they know they can flourish in, that hey, they can say, all right, the nest, basically like a nest. If you say like a bird's nest, we build that bird nest for them, and they look at it like, this is what I can work in, this is what my children could raise in, this is what I could raise my family in, this is what our family be in. we don't have to necessarily always talking that much about it, but understand that the basics, the fundamentals is what are important to continue talking about and improving on.
Absolutely.
Because after a while, it's like once you put into the woman is going to put back into you, and therefore put into the family. And
in theory,
and then the children are going to see that and be like, all right, I want to contribute and see what I appreciate this. But I think there's a part of it was in defining and building the rubric and rules of what your family foundation should be. It needs to start with what your triggers are.
That man. Absolutely.
It really needs to start with your triggers are, your pet peeves, and be like, listen, some of the stuff, my wife told me certain things, and I was like, oh, don't ever do that again. I'm like, oh, my bad. And there's what you're used to, what your culture is used to, sometimes don't fly right. It might fly right back in where you're from.
Yeah.
That means the community and all that.
Hell yeah.
But when you have to remember, we're dealing with another individual that has not grown up the same way you have, may not experience life the same way you have, good or worse, doesn't matter. But now you're embarking on with them. You have to mesh together.
Yeah.
And it is 100%. Important to understand what these triggers are and get the foundation of them. Because, the person says, I don't like this. Okay, well, you also need to educate them on what you don't like, why you don't like it. Yeah. Not just because. It's communication and explain. It sounds simple, but as much as I start doing more of that with my wife, it opens a lot more relaxation for us to communicate that.
Hell yeah, absolutely, I agree, man.
And so getting those written down on, say, these are my triggers. Like, there's certain things that's like, my wife knows it will trigger a response in me, a look in me. Certain things, it's like, I don't like to be talked to a certain way.
Damn. I felt that.
And there's a part of it, she'll be like,
I felt that.
My apologies. I didn't mean to. And I'm like, it's okay. And because there's other things like I don't want to say random things or insulting things. And if I do say that, I'm going to say apologize to her right then and there. Mm-hmm. And this is another thing, like, what we do is I apologize right in front of anyone that I did that in front of her to. Yep. I did that to her. So it's not, I'm going to wait to the end. Like, hey, my apology. I didn't mean it. And I'll give her flowers too sometimes when in good situations.
No, I get it. So and I respect that. 100%.
Yeah. So
I'm super.
But you have to start with your triggers, writing them down, and be like, hey, these are the guidelines of rules. We don't try to go around them. Let's try to work on them and see why they've been triggers for you. Maybe we can resolve them, but understand this is what you can't always just mix the good. You also have to find out what the bad are.
Yep.
And try to work on those.
Yeah. And I think I'm actually gonna take that. I'm gonna take that. And I'm gonna use it as an exercise for myself. You know what I'm saying? And whoever else is listening to this, and they can use it for yourself, man. I 100% agree, and that's something I haven't done. I haven't written down my triggers. I haven't expressed my triggers in writing, and I think that's important.
I haven't done it in writing, but we talk about them seriously.
No, I feel you, but that's that I typically like. If there's something that goes on, man, sometimes the trigger happens, and then you try to talk about it after the reactions to the trigger has happened, and that can be very tough, right? Because at the end of the day, if I'm feeling disrespected and I got triggered, how can I possibly communicate in an effective and efficient way for my partner to understand that they triggered me in the moment, right? So you're absolutely correct, and I haven't even thought about that in a way to write it down or communicate beforehand. You know what I'm saying? It's always after it has happened. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's super important. I agree.
I would say there are times that, and it's basically how you come at the situation. Like, there are times where we're watching a show, and I'm like, I stop saying anything, and I'm like, sometimes you have to step away to collect your information and come back and say, and I started to be like, hey, do you remember on Tuesday when we were watching this show? There was a moment in it where X and Y happened.
Yeah.
I felt triggered by the situation because it reminded me of X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. No, I respect
And for me, I didn't like it because of my experience. And this is not something I would like to continue or perpetuate within us or for myself. But I want to let you be aware of it. And, a conversation like that, I make it sound so scientific but it helped because it's like, oh, I really understand.
Yeah.
And she relates.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. No, I get it. 100%, dude. I applaud you for that. That's dope. And that's definitely needed. You're so correct, because that definitely does create a foundation where you can communicate the things in which you guys both want to do to raise a kid and get on the same page, rather than you just doing something that she wants you to do in order to be a dad.
Yeah.
That all is it's like a cyclic. It's like it all comes full circle if it works. You know what I'm saying? And I'm all for that, because at the end of the day, like, I'm trying to be, or I am into being a dad that also is in tune with what my partner wants me to do as a parent, but at the same time in tune with what I want to be as a parent as well. But we're not grading each other individually completely. We're grading each other as a couple and as a team, right, in regards to what we need to do for our kids.
Because at the end of the day, you're doing this for the greater good. And it's not just for your partner, it's for the greater good of your family. Yeah. And the family includes a lot more individuals. Yes, your wife is the queen, but it's for the greater good. And sometimes making those sacrifices, having those conversations, you have to have them, even as rough as they may be. They're for a reason, because you're seeing the long road down. You're seeing the long road, the long path that you have to walk or have to go on together. And you have to make sure that you build in the commitment, the dedication now, and continue to do that. Because there will be days, there will be times where you're going to need that reassurance from that person. Yep. You're going to have to look back at what you worked on or what you committed to and be like, you know what? Yeah. We worked on it. We can do it. We're going to stay together. We're going to keep walking. We might take a few more breaks. Yeah. Pauses on that walk. Yep. I'm talking about literally walking, not breaking up. But what that person and you are dedicated to doing.
Yeah. 100%. And dudes, man, like, we sometimes, we can be stuck in our ways too, man. We gotta remember, man, it's more than one way to fry some chicken, man. You know what I'm saying? It's
right.
You know what I mean?
Different recipes too. You might be surprised at what you want.
At the end of the day, it can all come out to be fried chicken, but there's different ways to do it, man. And just because you fry your chicken one way doesn't mean that somebody else can't fry theirs, or your partner can't fry theirs the other way.
Right.
At the end of the day, the end goal is to get fried chicken. God damn it. So, you know what I mean? Like, there's a difference when your fried chicken is better than your partner's fried chicken, of course. But, I digress, man. But you get the point. And guys, we got to remember, like, it's more than one way to do things in partners and moms. There's more than one way to do things, and
so
we got to come together and figure that out.
And I think I would say one of the simple challenge to help couples work on that is doing a solid project together. Doing a project together.
My God, with the gyms today.
Yeah, listen.
Let's go.
All right. Y'all want to cook a meal? Hey, let's cook a meal together. There cannot be two chefs in the kitchen. I'm going to tell you right there now. No two chefs in the kitchen.
Speak up.
There needs to be a head chef and then a sous chef. The sous chef prepping all the food. The head chef is going to cook